So the next part of my conker, I'm going to focus on the shell. Now in my tin I've already mixed up some different tones and shades of green which I'm going to use. So I'm going to start off by just putting a little bit of water on my brush and just wetting gently the surface of my shell. So you can see I'm just using the paint water just to put a little bit of water, just dampen the actual shell before I start. This will allow the paint to spread a little bit easier. So I'm just going to pick up a little bit of my colour and create this sort of wet on wet technique where I'm just wetting the surface and I'm putting wet paint straight onto the surface of my shell. Okay, so I'm using this very light yellowy green as my main wash to start off with. I'm also going to bring a little bit of that up into the spikes, so being very careful. Just go right up and follow the shape of my spikes. Again, so I'm keeping it quite loose and quite light to start off with. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to look at my picture, my image, and I'm going to see if I can see any darker areas. So again, I'm going to pick up a little bit of my darker green, using a little bit of water, create that kind of loose kind of wash effect. Now on my conker shell, I know there is some brown areas. So what I'm going to do is just pick up a little bit of my brown. Again, looking at my picture, I'm going to start bringing in some light, subtle washes of my brown. So I'm not going too dark, just keeping it quite light to start off with. I can darken up a little bit later. So I'm using that wet on wet technique. Pick up a tiny bit more brown, put that in my paint lid. And you can see where I put the water down first, it's just bleeding ever so slightly. And if it's not, I'm just picking up a little bit of water just to help it spread a little bit. So it's that lovely wet on wet technique. So once I'm happy with an area, if I want to go a little bit darker, I can then pick up a little bit more my brown. Again, I'm mixing up the colour, just checking the colour with my picture. And then I may go back and put in some of those darker areas. So again, I'm just building up ever so gently. Again, if I feel like it's going too dark, just go back to the water, put a little bit of water on my brush and just loosen it up a little bit.